your business to new insane revenue levels doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's all about the right strategy, team, efficiencies, and confidence. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast. With over 1 million downloads, it's the go-to business podcast dedicated to business owners who want to evolve out of operating in the day-to-day and make their dreams come true. I'm your host, Annette Walter, and I'm so happy you are here. As a former banker, I have now been an entrepreneur for over 15 years and have started, grown, acquired, and sold over 20 multi-million-dollar companies to date. Together, you and I will strengthen your existing business, build your dream team and process, grow your wealth and legacy, all while surrounding you with a community of rockstar entrepreneurs just like yourself. Are you ready to evolve? Let's get started. Welcome to this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast. I am honored and thrilled and excited to share today's guest with you. I loved our conversation and I feel like I could have spoken to Bob forever. Today's guest is Bob Schlegel. He is an entrepreneur and author. Most recently, his book has hit #1 Wall Street Journal, Angels and Entrepreneurs, a lifestyle formula for starting your own business and riding the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. He talks about the highs, he talks about the lows, and in our conversation, he is humble and sincere and honest and gives us so much. I am grateful for our conversation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And what I enjoy even more so is my conversations with you, my coaching sessions with you, where we talk about you and your business. I want to know what's happening in the day-to-day. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know how you're sleeping. I want to know how you're doing. Honestly, don't do this alone. I encourage you to click the link in the show notes and spend some time on your business and have a quick chat with me and talk through what's going on. It's free, it's for you, and honestly, you're gonna feel a lot lighter and really ready to step into your next chapter after our conversation. I promise you that. Enjoy my conversation today with Bob and keep evolving, entrepreneur. I am so, so proud of you. Welcome, Bob. How are you today?
Great, Annette. Hope you're doing well.
I am doing well. I'm so excited. We are joined today by Bob Schlegel. He is the author of the book, Angels and Entrepreneurs. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you, Annette.
And I know you have a really, really great story to share with us today. Lots of wisdom and lots of insight. So I will honestly let you start wherever you want to. Tell us, you can take us back as your earliest childhood or post-college, wherever your story begins.
Okay, great. Well, that gives me lots of latitude. So I grew up in a farm kid in Canada, Southern Ontario, Canada. And it was kind of I wouldn't say trouble, but I got into a lot of situations. Couple of them almost killed me. I broke my neck when I was 5 years old and was attacked by Great Danes the next year, and my house burnt down the next year. My brothers dragged me out of the burning house, my brother and my sister, and then the Great Danes attacked me and he dragged me out from that. So just a kind of a interesting childhood growing up at the farm, and then worked my way through, went to a one-room schoolhouse. It was the first generation of our family to go to high school and college. My folks were my great grandfather came from Europe in 1839 and got land from the farm in Canada, land from the crown in Canada, and then cut down the trees and built their own farm and that sort of thing. So my dad was kind of an entrepreneur beside a farmer. He became an electrician and sold Massey Ferguson farm equipment. So as a kid, I always wanted to work in the garage, in the shop, grease monkey. I loved pumping gas and working there, and wanted to quit school after grade 10 and become an auto mechanic. My mother insisted that wasn't going to happen, and I could still hear her say, "You're going to school, Robert." So that's what I ended up doing. Finished college, and became a CPA. But during that process, some of the business school profs would talk about to be successful, to create really wealth in this world, you want to work your way up a Fortune 500 company and become one of the CEOs of a Fortune 500 company. I thought, well, that's interesting, except there's only 500 of them, right? And there's 250 million people in America. So I think I better do something beyond that, because to do that, you have to be politically aligned and all that sort of thing. Right. So I've always wanted to run my own gig kind of thing. So, and just figured out ways to to do that, and worked on planned to do that for years before I opened accounting, got my CPA and opened an accounting firm with a friend, and we did that for 8 years. I worked at KPMG, the accounting firm, for years. So that was good. And then as soon as we could, we started our own, looked around in opportunities to expand our companies. But my dad also had a healthcare company, nursing retirement center.
Okay.
My wife's a registered nurse, so it seemed sense to expand in that area. She worked there as a high school kid, and we both worked there. Lots of experience in that field. So we looked for opportunities in Texas, and we found, really looked in the Sun Belt, looking Florida, Texas, California, because we got tired of the Canadian winters. We found some in North Dallas, and did that for about 15 years, and grew that from one facility to 16, and had a nice business with a lot of happy customers and clients. And then at the same time we started that one, we also started a company called Pavestone, which is interlocking concrete paving stones, with a partner from Canada. Started that in Plano. And so my wife worked at the nursing centers, and I worked at the concrete company.
Wow.
We built that up actually had that one for 32 years.
Wow. That's amazing. So what a big jump going from corporate KPMG world to the entrepreneur world. So a lot of people out there are thinking about that jump if they haven't already made that jump and are really going through the professional confidence repair. Do you remember what that felt like?
Yeah, for sure. I think the most important thing is, of course, you have to have the cash flow and the income, or the investment to do it. But the really more important than even the money is the customers. You have to have customers, and you have some product, service, or product that they're going to love, and they got to love enough to pay you money for it. And over a lot of customers, over a lot of years, over a lot of units, whatever they're buying.
Right.
So I think having a product and service that you're confident your customer is going to love. That's obviously the most important thing.
I love that you said that. Now, you were there 8 years in the accounting world, right? And then a longer amount of time in the other companies. Did you ever think, okay, this is it, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Or did you know that there was something else that you wanted to get to?
Well, part of my process, my entrepreneurial process, is something I call PEP, which is a really persistence, education, entrepreneurship, and passion and partnership.
Yeah.
You have to be passionate. The most important is persistent. I think you have to be persistent like crazy, and never give up, and just keep try it, and change the direction a little bit, and try it again until you customers are recurring, and a lot of them buying a lot of products. But the other thing, second most important, is passion. You gotta love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, you need to do something else or get out of it, or figure out a way to love it, or change it enough to hire the people to do the things that you don't like to do or don't want to do.
Absolutely.
And the things you're good at. But a lot of entrepreneurs are good at dealing with clients and customers and that sort of thing, but aren't so good at maybe financial or engineering or whatever else is involved.
Right. So let me ask you this. As you were in these companies and growing these companies, what did you like the best?
I like setting the goals, setting the philosophy up front, then setting goals. I call them BHAGs, B-H-A-G, big, hairy, audacious goals. And I think you need them, and you need to set them. You can change them all the time, but at least set them on and put in there. I'm a spreadsheet guy, so on your right hand of your spreadsheet, you all have your big, hairy, audacious goals down the right hand column, and that's where you want to end up at some time. Maybe it's next year, maybe it's 5 years or 10 years down the road, but at least you set your big, hairy, audacious goal in there, and then you could plan your by month and the years between now and then, and how the conceivable ways you can get there. Then you can base your hiring and salesmen and product and inventory and cash flow based on that goal. Right.
Well, you and I speak a lot of the same language. I grew up in banking, pre-entrepreneur world, and we kind of get it. We get the numbers, we get the spreadsheets, the goals, and all of that. I was having this conversation today with this woman. She's like, I know my numbers, I know all this stuff, but I don't know if they're big enough, if my goals are big enough, or if I'm measuring up and doing a good job, So like, did you ever just feel like your BHAGs were so out of the park that they were unattainable, or did you set some ones that were like more like big but realistic?
I probably set them bigger than was realistic, and I never hit them. I never usually hit them the first year. My first goal, I wanted to hit them, but eventually I did hit them. Maybe it's 2 or 3 or 4 years later.
Right.
But in the meantime, you take your KPIs, your key performance indicators, and measure them regularly, and see how, and make sure they're aligned with your BHAGs, and just keep working. And you can do that. Check your KPIs on a daily basis or hourly basis. Yeah. Now with the apps and stuff, kids have, my girls all have social media networks and sell products, mostly fashion and clothing. My one has a baby's store that she sells half on the, mostly on the net and some in an actual physical store. You're showing me just the apps that they have on her cell phone. She can tell every hour or every minute, what sales are, and she's showing me that she just hit 200,000 this month. The first month she went over 200,000 on Sunday afternoon. She's actually hooked up on her iPhone, so it's pretty exciting.
Amazing.
It's not paper documented KPIs anymore. It's a lot more advanced than that.
It's amazing. Well, congrats, Dad. That's a great job with them. So tell us about the book. What sparked the idea? How did it all get started?
Sure. We have 7 grandkids now. We have 4 kids, 7 grandkids, and so it's really as kind of an inspiration. Hopefully it's an inspiration to them, or at least an education to them. It's hard, you teach your kids, by the time you can't really teach your grandkids all that much anymore. They're out of your control and running off. Your kids are screwing that up themselves, So it's sort of an inspiration we can give to them, and that's what it started as, sort of a history how we got from A to B, and it took, one company I had for 32 years. Right. We sold that one, and then kept the division of that one. So the one, my religious, somebody we've done now, I really started in 1979. So that's 44 years ago that we've been working on that company. So just the heritage, the history of that company, and I'm not sure we'll keep that or we'll sell it eventually, but at least none of the kids have ever really worked for me more than a week or two. They've always wanted to find something more fun and sexier than making concrete, So it's, I don't blame them.
Well, it's interesting because we have a lot of people in the audience that are preparing their companies for the sale, right? A lot of private equity firms are gobbling up some companies right now, and different things, ownership transition within. So what's your advice in preparing a company to sell?
Sure. You fine tune it. You got to do, work on the faster, cheaper, better technique with your KPIs, and make sure you're doing that, and get your selling companies all about the EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation. Get your EBITDA finely tuned, and maybe get audited financial statements if you can. Just get it prepared that way. And the multiples are up and down. My first company, Pavestone, was publicly reported, so they had 540 million the offer on it, for public offer from a public company. They wanted it as a platform. We did about 60 million in EBITDA, up 9 times it's 540. So it would have been very, very good numbers. We had it sold for that actually in 2007, just before the Great Recession. Right. And then they got blocked by the Federal Trade Commission because of the Hart-Scott-Rodino anti-competitive nature. So that was kind of a shot in the head we didn't expect. And then, of course, the Great Recession came in 2008, 2009, 2010, and that didn't help us any. So we finally sold it 4 years later for a 30% discounted amount, but we got it set, and now it's still running today as a great platform, and they've taken it and doubled and tripled the size of it. So the big publics are always there, and you want to stay close to your, love your friends, and stay, what's the expression? Right. And so you stay careful. Your competitors, so the entrepreneurship is not about a winner. You don't have to have a winner and a loser. It's not like sports where somebody's got to lose. Right. Trying to do win-win relationships with your customers. Right. With your suppliers, with everybody, your employees. Everybody involved. Yeah, win-win. That's the really beauty of entrepreneurship. And the great wealth, instead of the Fortune 500, I think the great wealth is created by great self-made entrepreneurs. An interesting statistic I just read yesterday, matter of fact. In the 1980s, 40% of the Forbes 400 people were entrepreneurs, self-made, and by 2010, 30 years later, it was 70%. So are self-made entrepreneurs. That's great. So the great wealth in the world, is mostly entrepreneurs. Think of Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Right. Is Warren Buffett an entrepreneur? I don't know, but he's sort of one of the great wealths. I guess he helped start the Berkshire Hathaway back in the day. So I guess he qualifies as an entrepreneur as well. That's right. Well, and it's fun. And what I sense from you in the book and just your presence is that
you were always lifestyle balance, family balance, very important in building the company, right? With 4 kids and a growing family. So talk to us about how that balance was for you through the years.
I think we trade off, our kids were always involved from day one, dinner table conversations. They knew everything. Something was going wrong in one of the companies or one of the divisions or one of the locations. I mean, everybody knew about it because we talked about it all the time.
Right.
You were in there making decisions and, Dad, why don't you try this? Have you tried that, Dad? And
right.
No, that sort of thing. So
right.
It's definitely been a family. I think that's where I never thought it was a lifestyle until my editor started talking about it in the book. It's really a roller coaster lifestyle that entrepreneurship is all about.
That's right. Highs and lows, good days, bad days, but you just have to stay persistent, to use your word there. Well, wonderful. It's just making them a part of it and having those dinner conversations. They will remember. And it's like, when you say entrepreneurship is in some people's blood, it's like, that's how it is. It's just part of the family and part of the growth, whether they're in it or not, in the company that you're building, or they become, their own businesses on the side. It's just so rewarding, isn't it? So amazing.
It's really it's really great to watch them grow.
Yeah.
And they grow with their own stories now. They all got some sort of web-based business, basically.
Right.
And it's amazing what the kids can do these days with the cell phone.
They're teaching you a couple tricks, right?
Sure.
All right. So before we wrap up, because I know your time is precious here, tell us about one of your favorite parts of the book.
Probably my favorite is probably the growth strategies, and how do you grow things and improve, and that's where the big wealth is created. If you're growing 40% a year or 30% a year, you make all your money in the last year or 2 or 3, so you can double the 30% a year. Company doubles every 3.5 years. So it's and if you double your EBITDA, you double your value you created, and probably more than that, because your EBITDA multiple goes up the bigger the number is. So maybe instead of selling for 6 times, you sell for 9 times or 12 times. You have a higher number and higher growth. So I think you can really double the value of a company just by holding it on for 1 more year or 2 more years, and really create something important for your family.
That's right. What's the rule of thumb out there? Don't say yes to the first offer, right?
Don't say yes to any offer, I guess.
But as we have witnessed in our lifetime, the market does change, right? As we saw with the Great Recession too. So, oh my goodness, I feel like we could go on and on and on. And I know you have so many good stories to share. I can't wait to dig deeper into the book. Congratulations on that. It's such a good legacy to have for your family and your grandchildren. That's amazing. Where can we find you, support you, learn more about you, learn more about the book?
So our website is bobschlegelauthor.com. It's Bob, Schlegel, author.com is our website. The book's available at Amazon and all usual places. It just came out in paperback as well. It was a Wall Street Journal bestseller 2 weeks ago, so that's kind of fun.
Awesome.
So it's hopefully it's well received and people are motivated or inspired to try something on their own.
It's awesome. Do you think you're going to do an Audible on it?
Yeah, the Audible's there already as well.
Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't check that yet. So
people say I talk too fast, so the Audible is slowed down a little bit. So
okay.
I can't believe that, but
all right, I'm going to actually go download that right now because I love to have the book and the Audible at the same time, which is so fun.
Great.
So good. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being so generous with all of your knowledge and your wisdom and your time. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Annette. Appreciate your time.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Wow. What an episode. Did you learn something new? I hope so. I am so happy you were able to be here with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a review and I will be sure to read it and respond to you. Also, if you'd like to email me, my email address is yourock@ievolveconsulting.com. Hit subscribe, and every Tuesday you'll get notification when the next episode drops. We really have some amazing interviews and tips in the future. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I want you to keep your momentum. I want to help you stay accountable. I want you to stay inspired. I want you to evolve. So please let me know what you need, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care until next time.